Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer, the DRF race of the day for Friday, April the 17th. Race number 9 at Oaklawn Park. It's the $100,000 Rainbow Stakes for 3-year-old Arkansas breds. Before we get started with the analysis, I do want to remind you, give the new DRF mobile PPs a try. You can access these PPs on your phone anywhere, anytime. Get the exclusive lifetime buyer speed figure graph. You can access these full cards in second. Worth a try to be sure. DRF.com/MPPS. Experience those classic PPs with mobile interactive access. Here's the field for the $100,000 Rainbow Stakes. You can download free formulator past performances for this race on the Race of the Day event page at DRF.com. Download them, handicap along with us. Mike, there is a very fast horse in this race. The 10 Zano Boys is explosive out of the starting gate, and it looks like he's found a spot dropping in with Arkansas breds. The Timeform U.S. Pace Projector has him on the lead, but he might have to go fast to get it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, we'll see how fast he has to go. I can't argue with that pace projector, though, Dan. This is a really fast horse. There's just a lot pointing to him in here, and I do think he's going to clear from the outside.
Number 1 is Amazing Wisdom, and this is a horse that would really benefit if that pace projector's red bar scenario comes. He fell far behind the pace, a fast one at that, and came with a good run to win. Last time out, first time against winners, didn't break very well, didn't gain any meaningful ground. He's going to have to improve a lot over that last race, and I'm concerned he might run out of ground.
Yeah, I don't even know if a fast pace can help him in this race because it just might be too much for him right now. I will say this. I liked his debut. I know it wasn't a fast race, but he looked pretty green to me in that spot, and I thought he ran well to prevail. He did nothing last time. I can't say I like him in this race, Dan, but I do think there's a chance that, with some racing and maturity, he could turn out to be okay.
Captain Don is the number 2, and Captain Don I thought ran pretty well last 2 starts back, pardon me. 73 buyer speed figure, up close to the pace, finished ahead of one of the main contenders in this race. Last time I had a ready-made excuse. It was a muddy track. I really don't think he cared for it. My concern with Captain Don at a relatively short 4-1 on the morning line is his running style. He's going to have to chase that very fast number 10 Zano Boys early, and I wonder if that could soften him up late.
Yeah, the trip may not be ideal for him, but I think the way that you laid it out earlier, Dan, is probably the right way to look at him and just sort of, be a little lenient with his last race. He may not have liked that wet track. Prior to that, he was improving with every start. And if he takes one more step forward in here over a fast track, he can contend.
Chickenhawk is the number 3. Source is still a maiden, second in the career debut. Ran pretty well that day. Thought he was forced in leaving the gate, then worked out an in-out trip to just miss. They stepped him up into the maiden special ranks last time out, however, and he was beaten on the square by Tempt Fate, who's back in this race, so he's going to have to take a step forward.
Yeah, he is. Tempt Fate just ran a lot better than this horse did last time, and so this horse, he just really needs to find a way to take a big step forward in here.
Implicator is the number 4, a horse that's turning back drastically in distance, but I thought he ran really well last time out, going 1 mile and a 16th. Far outside post in the field of 12 with a short run into the first turn. This horse made a good prolonged run, was gaining ground on the gate-to-wire winner in the stretch despite hanging on his left lead. A concern is, considering that this pace is going to be so fast, he just might be a mile out of it early.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see if he can catch a fast pace and then make a run into it. I agree with you. I thought he ran pretty well last time. I'm not so sure that he ran that much better than Jimmy T did, who's also back in this race. But, they're both getting the cutback, and if they catch a fast pace, maybe they'll come running at the end.
I agree with you that the 5 Jimmy T ran equally as well as Implicator last time out. Jimmy T was up close to that very fast pace, going 1 mile and a 16th, and was the first horse to go after that leader and winner Sunday Sermon, making his move into the teeth of the pace. And he hung in there pretty gamely in the stretch, Mike. Again, as with Implicator, turning back in distance, he might be outrun early.
Yes, I agree with that. Sometimes, considering his trip last time, sometimes that's just like the worst trip in racing, right? Chasing a horse who's on the lead and doing it for a long way. He just could never get to the winner of that race, but I thought he ran pretty well. And, when I look at him, Dan, I'm not so sure that this horse wants to go long. I think he's probably more of a sprinter. his first two career starts, they don't look like much on paper. He was fourth, beaten double digits both times. I think in both of those races, he might have run a lot better than it looks.
Well, he just didn't get out of the gate in those first two starts, and he was bet hard in start number 2 and faced a good field in his debut over a wet track. So there's hidden form here with Jimmy T. It's all whether he can stay within contact of the leaders early, but I would expect him to give a good account at a good price. Let's take a look at Tempt Fate, the number 6 most recent victory. This is a maiden score, first off the Carl DeVille claim. You see he wins very comfortably. It was his first race with blinkers, and when Joe Talamo asks him the question, he really opens up under moderate urging. This is a horse that finished first in his career debut over a couple of next out winners, was disqualified for a drug positive. It looks like he's just coming into form, and you got to like his tackle speed. I think he's going to work out a good trip here.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, that replay we just watched where he broke his maiden, he got a good trip in that race, but he really ran in the stretch. I thought he ran well. He has the 75 buyer for his debut, disqualified or not. He could sit the right trip in this race, and I think he's got a chance.
Man in the Can is the number 7 debut winner at Remington Park, pushing the pace, then making his first start off of a short layoff. I thought he ran okay last time out. He tracked 3 wide. I think it was a good learning experience. First time off the layoff, getting an experience racing in behind horses. Really didn't finish with a lot of oomph, but I think that race was decent. Captain Don finished second. I think this is a horse that can improve second off the layoff, and I think he would benefit from the pace up front. I think 8-1 with Rosario aboard is a fair price.
Yeah, I wonder if he'll actually be that price. I felt like when I looked at him that he was going to take more money than that, but we'll see how that plays out. His debut was good. I didn't love it, but it did earn a good figure, and he got it done in that race. I'll agree with you on his last race. It wasn't great. It wasn't terrible. He can do better than that.
10 Buds is the number 8. This horse was a very game gate-to-wire winner last time out. He improved with the addition of blinkers. He might have benefited from a wet track, and he certainly benefited from weaker competition. But the lead is not his in this spot. I don't see any way he can outrun Zano Boys to the lead, and stepping up in class and facing a tougher pace situation is a very big ask.
Yeah, he just looks like he's in really tough here. Very game in this replay we're watching. To get it done and break his maiden, but he's stepping way up in class for this.
Piece of Work is the number 9. Nice debut win at Remington Park, 73 buyers score, and his 2 races over this circuit haven't been good, and I think there are 2 ways that you could look at them. One is he just can't step with these horses at this point in his career. 2, he doesn't really like a wet track, and he's caught wet tracks in both starts at Oaklawn Park. He has speed. I don't know if he could run with Zano Boys early. I think he's better than what's shown in his last 2 races, but again, it's a tough pace scenario for him.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the trip that he can get in this race, but I agree that, you may want to be a little lenient on his last 2 starts over wet tracks that he just may not have liked at all. His trainers just had a real tough go of it here at Oaklawn for the meet. But Alan Milligan knows what he's doing. This horse, I don't know, Dan, when I go back and look at that debut, I thought he ran really well that day. I thought he showed a lot of potential. I'm going to be a little forgiving of this horse in this race, especially if that morning line's close to right.
Zano Boys, the horse to catch and beat, 8-5 on the morning line. We'll watch his most recent race at Gulfstream Park. He never gave this field a chance. He opened up several lengths in the blink of an eye. He wins with a 78 buyer speed figure. Despite failing to change leads in the stretch, this horse good enough to beat open stakes horses at Tampa Bay Downs last year. Just looks like a really nice spot against fellow statebreds, and I think he's going to grab the early lead. It'll be interesting to see how fast he goes, but from a class, speed figure, and pace standpoint, boy, he just fits like a glove.
Yeah, he's just supposed to be really tough in here for all the reasons you mentioned. He's a 3-time winner in a race where nobody else has more than 1, and 3 horses in this race have no wins at all. He just, on form, he towers over this field. I don't see how you play this race seriously and don't use him somewhere.
Well, let's take a look at our top selections in this race. We both picked Zano Boys second. You have to respect him. You have to use him, I think, in multiple race wagers. Mike, you did like the last race from the 5, Jimmy T. That was a very, very difficult situation for him, going into the teeth of the pace, turning back in distance. If he can get out of the gate, I would expect this horse to run late. 15-1 on the morning line, a square price to be sure.
Yeah, he's the kind of horse I like in races like this. I don't know, Dan, if he's going to be good enough to get to Zano Boys if that horse shows up. I just like him cutting back in distance. Again, I think his first 2 career starts are better than they look on paper. And you know what? Dallas Stewart, this is the race of the day, so you can use Formulator. He has great numbers, route to sprint on dirt.
Man in the can is where I'm going to go here. I agree with you that we might not get the 8-1 with Rosario taking the mount. I do think this horse has some upside. I think he has a little bit more tactical speed than the true closers in this race. Horses like Implicator and Jimmy T. I thought the last race was a good learning experience. I'm going 7, 10, 6, and 2. Mike's going 5, 10, 9, and 2. It's the $100,000 Rainbow Stakes. It's your Friday race of the day, and it has an approximate post time of 5:09 Central. Good luck.